Welcome to an interesting training today. A few weeks ago, got on a call with a few members of GCP. They joined in the first cohort when we first launched the program before it ever became a partnership. And we had to jump on a call because they were kind of like stagnating at the multiple six-figure run rate. They're currently serving the insurance space. And I ended up sharing with them something that was interesting, and I thought it would be crazy for me not to end up kind of like making a breakdown for everyone else who's checking out this video. Okay, how fast you get filthy rich depends on two things: supply and demand, and levels of leverage. Okay, the point of me making this training is to show you that you could have the great offer, you could have found the right niche to serve, you could have been good at fulfilling the outcome, and you will still be stagnating and stuck at not making over $1 million a year. Okay, for those who don't know, most companies never even cross the $1 million mark. Okay, and the point of me making this video is so you guys understand all the variables that are keeping you from growing. And what you'll find is that it's not just finding the thing that works, it's dialing it in to the point where it works at its best. Okay, so I want to share with you guys supply and demand and leverage in a way that that helps you understand that even though you're doing good, you could be doing better, but you're not doing better because you haven't figured out how to dial in the machine over every single component of the system. Okay, so let's go into supply and demand. For those who don't know, the market really works in a supply and demand type of relationship. If people want something and enough people are offering that something, there's what you call market equilibrium, right? So it's like people make just enough profits to survive so that the market can get the best price. So when the supply is equal to the demand, there's not much profits to be made. Okay, this is where you find, let's say, like as an example, if you go buy gas for your car, they're not going to price the gas 10 times more, 10 times higher than the gas on the other side, because then they wouldn't have any clients. So they're forced to reduce the price to where everyone is making a few cents of profits per gallon. Okay, but if you start a gas station business, you're not actually going to make money from selling the gas. You're just going to make money from the selling of candies or water bottles and Red Bull bullshit in your store. Okay, that's why most profits don't come from the gas. They come from the products they sell in their stores. Okay, a lot of you guys who are selling services, let's say as an example, Facebook ad. Trust me, the demand of Facebook ad is equal to the supply. Okay, or let's look at short form content. The demand of short form content is, I think the supply is actually higher than the demand of short form content, right? Now, for people where there is market, the supply and demand is equal, you get rich slow, which is kind of like what was happening for this client. They're serving insurance agents. It's like they have a service that is needed. Insurance agencies and insurance agents need marketing. They need leads, they need appointments. So that's great. But the issue is that there's already a supply for that service. So even if they're great at fulfilling, the competition is already equal. Okay, so there won't be any real money to be made in that service. Not you will get rich, but you'll get rich over 5 years, 10 years. And by when I get rich, I'm like, you're maybe going to make 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand profit a year. And that's if you really push it. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys who don't understand this end up going into markets where the supply is higher than the demand. In my opinion, something that represents this relationship is like short form content. Okay, the amount, I actually think most people doing short form content have actually stopped breathing because I don't get as many anymore. Because that's what happens when you guys are all selling something that where the supply has overcame the demand, where it's like infinitely more. You're not going to make money. The only thing you're going to be is stressed and broke, right? You're going to have to get a job. You're going to have to charge like $10 a short form. It's crazy. Okay. You don't want to be here. Never get in a field where everybody's offering the same thing as you. And even worse, where the demand for that thing is lower than the supply. That's crazy. Okay? What you should focus on is here. You need to get in game where the demand is high, but the supply is low. Primarily because there could be two reasons. Either in order for you to supply the service or product, it's extremely hard. The barrier of entry is really hard. That's one. Those markets could be, I don't know. I would expect like maybe building homes, building buildings could be kind of like hard to pull off because you're not going to start a construction company that builds 100-story buildings, right? So maybe getting into that field might be less competitive. Okay. Another thing that has been working really well that we've seen is with AI, right? We have a 16-year-old partner who just did 6 figures in cash collected at 16 years old, and it's primarily because the demand is really high, supply is really low. So he just hit $1.2 million run rate at 16 years old, right? It may not necessarily be because he's a genius. It may just be because the market dynamics makes it so that since the supply is high, since the demand is high and the supply is low, he's going to get rich inevitably, okay? This is where I like to live, okay? And when I started selling building and releasing appointment setting infrastructures back in 2021 with $3 an hour VAs, everyone was selling information on how to get VAs, but no one was really building training on proven processes, proven protocols on how to acquire clients, getting these VAs trained before they would place them into their companies. So not many people were doing it, and I got really, I made a lot of money really fast, okay? Ended up getting to millions of dollars a year in run rate, like 12 months into selling that service, okay? That's not just about, oh, me, I'm so good at appointment setting. No, it's literally this relationship here. So ask yourself, where are you right now, okay? If you're here, do not expect to become a billionaire. You're not. Expect to make good money, but you're not going to make 10 times more the next month. Right? Because everybody's already doing the same thing as you. Okay? And here, if you realize that you have more supply in your niche and your service than the demand, I mean, to be honest, close your shop, close your service, close your agency, close your coaching. Okay? Like, especially when it comes to coaching, guys. Oh my God. Close shop, go get a job. You can use your experience to be well paid, make 6 figures, and not be stressed. Okay? But if you are here, come work with us. Okay? That's one. Now let's go into this second concept, which is leverage. Okay? So a lot of you guys will be like, okay, now I figure out this thing here where I'm in a niche where it's not like there's not a lot of supply, there's high demand. I figured out, great, but I'm still not making millions of dollars a year. What's happening? Well, let me explain. So let's look at a business and look at every variable. There is marketing. You need to market. There is how you sell. There is how you fulfill. There is how you price your offer. There is the actual offer, and then there is the market that you go after. All right? Let's look at marketing. Or before I explain this, let me just explain it a little different. The level of throughput and the level of success you experience in your business will be dependent on how leveraged or how much leverage you have in each facet of your business. Okay? You could be the best salesperson and be really leveraged, meaning like you're so good, you figure out technology into how to sell at scale and to sell millions of people at once. But if you can't market and if you can't fulfill, your business is going to be capped by all these other bottlenecks. Okay? So let's start with marketing first. In my opinion, even though you could look at cold DMs through social media, maybe leveraging setters or VAs, you could look at it and be like, oh, it's leveraged. Yeah, it is leveraged. You could look at ads and be like, oh my God, I just have to spend money and then I get leads on demand. Is that leveraged? Yes, that's leveraged. But it is not as leveraged as you think because everyone is already using them. Okay? So this also applies in mechanisms of acquisition. If everyone is using the same channels as you, then you have no edge over the rest of the market, which means that you're going to pay the same amount of for your acquisition. You're going to spend the same amount of cost per mil, right? The 1,000 impressions is going to be the same. So you don't have an edge. So you don't really have leverage, right? Now, how would you get insane amounts of leverage in getting attention? Well, learn to get traffic for free. This is where a lot of our partners, we try to get them on YouTube, because YouTube is a weird channel, right? Meaning it will actually feed your content to people over and over again without you having to spend money on YouTube, without you having to create more content, okay? So if you could create 1,000 sales letters or 1,000 videos and dump them on YouTube, well, you'll forever get traffic and you'll forever get people coming into your ecosystem for free. And that's where, if you're doing this, you're actually infinitely more leveraged than people who are spending money on ads. Now, if you can combine both, that's where you become a legend, okay? I made my first $1 million in 90 days because I was able to get my message in front of people for free, right? I was still spending like $9,000 in 90 days on ads and using setters, but a lot of the attention came from YouTube. That's one. So learn to acquire an edge, learn to get more leverage than everybody else in the market when it comes to marketing. Now let's look at selling. So if you're doing door-to-door, you're as unleveraged as it gets, right? If you have to go knock on doors and be like, oh, hey, I want to sell my marketing services door-to-door, you're not going anywhere, okay? And I also put Zoom here because everyone is using Zoom to sell right now. Okay, so if you're selling online services and this and that, using Zoom is not going to get you anywhere. Maybe if you were trying to sell a car or trying to sell a home and you figure out a way to sell through Zoom to investors from other continents, then maybe you're more leveraged than your average realtor, okay? Or average car salesman or average watch seller, right? But if you wanted to, let's say, get more leverage into a way of selling, well, you might learn to use webinars, right? I do webinars and make $250,000 a week, right? And that makes me a lot better at selling than most of my competitors who only have to rely on, hey, book a sales call with us so we can sell you our stuff. No, I get on a Webby, I write 140-page doc, and I do 3 hour, 4 hours straight. Most of my competitors cannot do that, even if they wanted to. They're too rich, they're too lazy, and they're too fat. And they probably do drugs, right? I don't do none of that. So I'm still hungry. I love to work. I love to sit down here and write bangers, right? So that means that I actually have more leverage, which means that I'll make more money with the little audience I have than most of my my competition, okay? So that's a way to get leverage. Now, let's look at fulfillment. If your fulfillment requires time, like, oh, okay, cool, let me launch your ads. Let me place, let me manage your ads monthly. Let me do your short form content. Let me edit it. This piece of content that's going to take me 1 hour to edit one short. That's unleveraged. That's crazy. You're not going to make a lot of money, okay? Because it takes you time. Time, you don't get much of it anymore. Once you use it, bye, it's gone, okay? Like, I could either make this one video for every client and get on a call one-on-one and tell them what I'm about to share right now, or I could make a video on Loom and get it to be seen by 5,000 people. Leverage. Personalization, right? If you have to write sales letters for every single client, if you have to create new copy for every new client, if you have to build funnels for every new client, lack of leverage. So your business is not going to be as great as it could be, okay? So anything that requires more time, more personalization, every new client that comes in, not as scalable. You can still get rich, but you'll probably get rich slow and you will be capped at some point, okay? The next thing, if you want to blow up this component of your business, is get into productizing a service or literally creating products and standardize everything. The sales letter, the content editing, the funnels, the this, the that. Everything should be the same so that new client goes through the same infrastructure. No personal, I mean, somewhat personalized, but not everything should be personalized again and again and again. Okay? It needs to be productized and standardized. That way you can scale and fulfill for so many people, and it's also easier for you to hire people because the process is the same. They can be a person without the left side of the brain, and they can still help your client get results because the process is mapped out. Okay, it's a specific protocol, it's a specific infrastructure. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. Not like, oh, okay, cool. So let's think about it. How did your ad go? Okay, well, let's think about it. No, let's not think about it. We already have the protocol mapped out. Okay? Now, let's look at pricing. How you price your offer is also can be a limiting factor for your growth. Let's start with the first one, which is the most unleveraged way, in my opinion, of charging for your time, which is monthly retainers. You have to understand that monthly retainers takes 30 days to kick in, right? You need to go through 30 days to make money. 30 days to make money. Do you know how many 30 days you have in your life? Not many. So you can literally count on like five hands how much money you will make in your lifetime if you're charging retainers. Okay? So do we have people pay us monthly retainers? Yes. But they do not pay monthly retainers for time. They pay monthly retainers for insights and data and new, more leveraged ways of fulfilling. Okay? Agencies don't scale because time is literally a factor of how fast they get rich. Okay? And of course, time is a factor, but I don't want to it's not like I'm waiting for a check. I can make money today, and I can make infinite amount of money depending on how much inputs I'm willing to put in. Okay? But for a lot of people, they have to wait to make money. And the other thing that I've noticed here is this idea of rev share, right? We have the new idea of building communities for creators or influencers or coaches, right? And they're like, oh, I'm going to get rev share for these businesses. Oh my God, is that the craziest thing I've started hearing? What you don't understand is that rev share can actually be also a shitty way of pricing, because the quality of your prospect and client dictates the quality of your service. If you're helping a creator who has no business acumen or has no experience, well, you're going to get rev share. You're going to get 30% of what? Of nothing. So you're actually better off charging monthly for your time than getting rev share from broke and dumb influencers or coaches or clients, right? So rev share in and of itself means nothing, because you can either get rev share of $1,000 a month, or you can get rev share of $1 million a month, right? So guys, be really careful how you're charging. Be mindful, because it will literally dictate how fast and how wealthy you get. Now, let's look at other ways of charging that is a lot more attractive. Upfront build and release. So for those who don't know, we build and release growth infrastructures, but we charge for the infrastructure upfront because of its potential. We don't say, oh, it's going to take us 3 months to build this and you're going to pay me $3,000 per month for my time. No. Instead, we charge based on, hey, I'm going to place this infrastructure, this acquisition. It could be a YouTube growth infrastructure. It could be an AI growth infrastructure. It could be a podcast infrastructure. We have clients who are building and releasing growth infrastructure for podcasts. It could be an ad infrastructure. And based on the potential that we've seen in the past from this infrastructure, I'm going to charge you upfront. Okay? Because this is something that I built once and put in your company, but it reaps rewards over and over and over again forever for as long as you use it. So pricing this way is good because it's not related on our time. We get paid upfront for the potential of something. Okay? The other way that is really great to get rev share or to get paid is rev share with great clients. If there is one mistake that I did make in the past is do rev share with people who are kind of like starting out, who don't really have a good thing going, and we are stopping that. Okay? You want to do rev share with great business owners, not with beginners or people who have nothing going on, right? And the third level of pricing that is crazy is just own the business, right? If you guys look at Hormozy, he went from having his own offer that he would sell for upfront for a program and this and that. Now he's acquiring businesses because he realized that, Well, why should I just get paid once? What if I own the companies that I'm helping? And that's like the last level of leverage when it comes to pricing. If you own the business of every client you help, and in your lifetime you end up helping and acquiring, let's say 50, 100, 200, 500 businesses, you could become a billionaire. You literally only need to acquire maybe 50 companies in your lifetime, but because of the way you price your service as ownership, the price of your service and your time is ownership, then that's how you acquire more leverage. You do the same work that you would do for a monthly service or an upfront fee, but instead of getting the upfront fee, you ask for equity, okay, or you acquire equity, right? So if you guys want to get really rich fast, learn to go through level 1, charge upfront, get rev share, and then go ahead and own more companies. Now, the actual offer can also be a limiting factor. If you're, let's say, selling appointment setting, one, people are already selling the same thing. It's also inconsistent to get results, right? If you want as much leverage in your offer, learn to become like an instant gratification service provider. If you pay, let's say your cost per lead on Facebook is $25. Every time you spend $25, the algorithm on Facebook knows to give you the lead, okay? Or every time you spend $8 or $80, you always get the instant outcome that you're paying for. If you can figure out a way to turn your offer into a meta type of advertising outcome service, you'll forever beat everyone here. Even if you're in a supply and demand are equal, if your offer is instant and delivers outcomes instantly, you're going to make more money than anybody here because your offer is so much better. But this depends on the mechanism you're using, okay? The other way of acquiring more leverage in your offer is make it limited, cap how many you're going to sell, and 2, build a really sophisticated offer, something that no one else can build. Patek, examples, Ferrari, right? Porsche, right? I just bought a GT3, and there are a lot of cars out there, but no other companies is making the same car or can make the same car, right? Or if you're, private equity is a way of offering services and insights that is premium, that is sophisticated, where if you go and give a piece of your company to someone, you're getting in exchange something valuable, either capital or expertise or both, right? And this is going to be the most important one, guys. I think it might be the most important one, I believe. Who you pick to serve is going to dictate how fast you get wealthy and rich, because a lot of you guys try to go after uneducated people who have no capital and people who lack teams, human resources. Doesn't matter how good your service is. You could be private equity. You could be selling a Porsche. If you go sell it to people here who have no driving license, who have no money for gas, who have no money for insurance, bye. You're gonna die. You're gonna go broke, right? But if you decide to go after people they don't need to have all of this, but they just need to have at least one of these, educated and experienced at succeeding at something. They could have capital and they could have team. Every time you go serve these people, even if this could be mediocre, you're still going to make more money than the person who's selling something great, but to these people, okay? So the lesson today here, guys, is first ask yourself, which market am I in? Okay? And then the second thing you want to ask is, how leveraged am I in all of these layers? Once you figure out, well, you could just go crazy into increasing more leverage here, and then you'll inevitably make more money without working harder, okay? Guys, pick this here and increase the level of leverage in your marketing, in the way you sell, in the way you fulfill, in the way you price your offer, in your offer, and in the market you serve, and you're going to be a legend. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Bye-bye.